Hey, what's up, YouTubers and those who may be watching this off of Facebook? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this one, I'm going to be reviewing the mobile game Elder Scrolls Blades. I'll be reviewing the ISO, or mostly the iPhone version, but the game's also available on Android and Nintendo Switch. Plus, I will be giving my thoughts on the movie I just came back and saw, Spiderman Far From Home. Before I get started, I do want to point out two things I do want to point out. Both of them are kind of non-gaming related. And the first one has to do is, I'm sure most of you have heard about the earthquake that happened in Southern California, though. I know about it because I kind of felt a little bit of it on Thursday and Friday. I do want to say, as far as I'm aware of, I'm okay. Nothing's happened or anything like that. It seems that the damage doesn't sound like, at least based on what I've been hearing, is as widespread as it is. But I will say, yes, I did felt it, even if it wasn't as big of a jolt for those who may have been in the epicenter and so forth. But it sounds like, based on everything I've heard or seen so far, everything seems to be okay at the moment, though. The other thing I do want to point out is that there is a good chance that next week I probably won't have a video up. This is mostly due to the fact that there's something I am doing. This is mostly family stuff, and I probably am not going to have enough time to do a video and so forth. So if you don't see a video next week, you'll probably know what that situation probably is. Alright, anyway, with that out of the way, why don't we get started with our video review, and that is of Elder Scrolls Blades. When it comes to games that are free to play and so forth, or games on like phones or tablets, though, they've unfortunately have earned a bad reputation, and there is justifiable reason why that reputation is basically earned. A lot of these games that have come out from developers have found many ways to try to nickel and dime people to death. Whether it's games like Clash of Clans or Candy Crush Saga, the reputation of phone games have been pretty bad, despite the fact that there are good mobile, like phones or tablet games out there. The reputation has really hurts it as well. There are some games out there like Ridiculous Fishing that's not a bad game, to even some of the stuff that Nintendo has recently put out, like Super Mario Run or Fire Emblem Heroes, that for mobile games aren't as bad as a lot of people make them out to be. And I will say, based on my time with Elder Scrolls Blades, I have to say that this game I've been playing for a while, though, especially during my breaks and so forth. And while I don't see this overtaking or this becoming the true Elder Scrolls game out there, I will say for a game on the phone, it's not as bad as some people have made it out to be. So why don't we get started with our pros and cons, and we'll start off with the first one, the pros, and that is the controls, though. As far as the controls in the game go, they're very easy. The game is a touchscreen, but the touchscreen controls I didn't find like difficult or complicated or anything like that. Walking might be a little bit difficult to some, but I found it to be not as bad as it is, as you basically point to an area on the ground where you want your character to move, to combat probably being the game's strong point, where basically to swing your item, you could swap, but if you hold down the screen, like if you like hold it down like this for a couple seconds, that came up, my bad. If you hold it down like for a couple seconds though, and then let it go, your character will swing. There's also a button there to raise your shield or do any of the spells. You could assign certain spells that take up your magic meter or special moves that take up your stamina meter, though. So as far as controls go, I found it to be touchscreens to be simple and easy to use. The next thing I do want to point out is that what's interesting about this mobile game is the fact that you could play this in portrait mode or horizontally. So you could play it like, hold it up like this, more Twitter notification, like this, and play it like that. Or you could hold it this way and play it in this kind of mode. I think this is like portrait mode or like this kind of way as well. Now, this makes it very interesting in terms of which kind of way you like to play your mobile games or games on your phones and all that stuff. I prefer to hold it up like this in terms of basically using the touch screen. I find it much easier to use though, but some people like holding it like this way and so forth. So whichever way you want to play it, horizontally, vertically, or portrait mode, or whatever it's referred to, there are many ways you can play the game. And last but not least, and this is probably the big elephant in the room for any mobile game, and that is microtransactions. This is the area that this is the area of that a lot of people have been turned off by mobile games, and not to mention those when they see AAA developers push out these microtransactions or loot boxes in $60 video games though. And while there is certainly there's no doubt that there is microtransaction in Elder Scrolls Blades, it is a free-to-play game after all. I don't think they're nearly as bad as many people have made it out to be. I've played the game for like weeks on end, and I haven't found myself in a situation where I was forced to spend money on gems or anything like that. Now, I can't speak for everybody. I know some people it might be an issue though, and that's fine though. And make no mistake, it is a free-to-play game and so forth. So that certainly is not going to change anybody's opinion, especially if you hate free-to-play games or anything like that. But as far as my time, and I'm basing this off of my time with the game, the microtransactions aren't nearly as bad as some have made it out to be, especially based on my time, as I haven't found myself in a situation where I had to spend money or anything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, which is the cons, and my thoughts on Spiderman Far From Home. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of the Elder Scrolls Blades for ISO devices, iPhones and iPads. I also forgot to mention though, if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description if you want to check that out. So now that we gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And we'll start up with the one that's pretty obvious though. Now, as I mentioned, I thought that Elder Scrolls Blades wasn't a bad game. The microtransaction wasn't bad, and the controls, the touchscreen controls, were fun and all. That said, as much as I think Elder Scrolls Blades is not a bad iPhone game or anything like that, or a mobile game, don't go in expecting this to be a full-fledged Elder Scrolls games though. As enjoyable as the game is, it's not a true replacement to say like Skyrim or anything like that. I mean, bear in mind, it's still a free-to-play game after all. So if you're expecting a full-fledged Elder Scrolls games out of this, you're not going to find this here though. This is still a mobile game at its heart though. If you want a true Elder Scrolls experience, go play like Elder Scrolls Online or play Skyrim. I know that game has been released God knows how many times to be exact. But if you want a true Elder Scrolls game, go look at those games instead though. If you're expecting this from Elder Scrolls Blades, I would say you're not going to find it over here. And last but not least is I will have to point out the level designs. Now, I don't think the level designs are bad. I don't think the visuals are bad or anything like that. They're good for a game on your phone and all that stuff, but expect to see the same level over and over and over again. I mean, yes, you have different quests you could take on, especially some side quests and all that will earn you rewards. They'll have special awards that will earn you gems and all that stuff. But bear in mind, no matter what mission you're playing, it's still going to be the same level over and over again. Okay, one could be in the dungeon, one could be in the same dungeon again. It could be another mission could be in the same dungeon again, or the same forest and so forth. So don't expect to explore this great world like you see in games like Dragon Dogma or Skyrim or Breath of the Wild or even Witcher 3 or anything like that. Expect to see the same levels over and over again, which might be tiresome to some people. Overall, Elder Scrolls Blade to me is not a bad game. For a mobile game, for a game to play on your phone or your tablet or anything like that, it's not bad. The controls I found to be simple and easy to use, and the game is quite fun, though, to be exact. And the microtransactions to me aren't as bad as some have made it out to be, but again, everyone's going to have a different preference and taste on that. That said, as much as I think Elder Scrolls Blade is a fun game on your phone, it's not a full-fledged Elder Scrolls game. If you really want a full-fledged Elder Scrolls game, then like I said, go play Skyrim. If you approach this as simply a phone game, a game you could play on your phone and all that stuff, or to maybe kill some mint and all, then it's not that bad of a game. I've played bits of it, some of it a little bit on my lunch break, some of it whenever I'm waiting at some place, and it's definitely a fun game for what it is and all that stuff. Yes, it still has all the things that people don't like about, the free loot boxes and the microtransactions, but like I said, I haven't found myself in a situation where I was put in a situation where I had to pay for this stuff. So again, everyone will have different preferences. So my overall take on this is that for a phone game, it's fun, it's not just not a true Elder Scrolls games. As for the game on the Nintendo Switch, while there's nothing wrong with the game coming to the Nintendo Switch, I just not convinced in getting it for the Nintendo Switch, especially when we have stuff like Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, Dragon Dogma, the upcoming Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the Nintendo Switch, and basically the sequel to Breath of the Wild being in development. Though with those kind of games on a system like the Nintendo Switch, I feel as though Elder Scrolls Blades just doesn't make any sense to come to the Nintendo Switch. Some people may see that differently and so forth, but my position is that I just don't think it makes any sense at all. Okay, before I end this video, I do want to give my thoughts on the movie Spider-Man Far From Home, which I just recently saw, and honestly, I will say it was a fun, enjoyable movie, though. While it did wow me on the same level as, say, Avengers Infinity War or Endgame did, it was still enjoyable nevertheless. They do touch up on some of the events of Infinity War and Endgame, such as some of the people, the blimp, when they just disappeared because of Thanos' snap, and then they showed how those people reappeared and all that stuff. They explain how some people had to go through, some of the students had to go through certain education, like go through some parts of their education again due to them disappearing for 5 years and so forth. And I thought Jake Gallagher portrayment of Mysterio was very interesting how they portrayed him, though. Although when you go in and see the movie, it may not be based on what some people have expected it to be and so forth. And I will say Tom Holland did a great job as Spider-Man as usual. He definitely did very well and all that stuff. And it was nice to see Nick Fury and Maria Hill on all that stuff. So it was definitely nice to see these characters again. Although there's kind of a little twist about those characters, basically a end credit scene to be exact. I won't reveal what it is, but it's best to see it too. And not to mention, there's another end credit scene before the official credits come out. I won't reveal what that scene is, but one actor from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie makes an appearance in it. That's right. The one actor from the Spider-Man movies that Sony did back, I think, in 2002, 2004, and 2007 makes an appearance in this movie, though. I won't say who it is. I won't reveal who that actor is, but it kind of has a little bit of that nostalgic feel to it in a way. So my overall and also it's nice that in a way it kind of throws back. There are some scenes and so forth that are kind of like a throwback to sort of like the first Iron Man movie in a way. There's one scene, so you sort of get that sort of like that first Iron Man vibe out of it. So overall, enjoyed the movie. It's going to be very interesting to see where the MCU goes now that the Infinity Stone trilogy, from the first Iron Man movie all the way up to Endgames and now Far From Home. It'll be very interesting to see where it goes. And given how the movie Spider-Man Far From Home ends, I'm very curious to see when the third Spider-Man movie comes out, how everything's going to play out and so forth. So overall, I enjoyed Spider-Man Far From Home. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Again, I don't think it will top Infinity War or Endgames, but it was still an enjoyable movie nevertheless. Okay, this concludes my video review of Elder Scrolls Blades and my thoughts on the movie Spider-Man Far From Home. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Elder Scrolls Blades, especially on, ISO or Androids or on the Nintendo Switch? Do you think the game is as bad as some people made it out to be, or do you don't think it's as bad as some people made it out to be at all? Do you think the microtransactions are that bad in the game, or do you don't think they're that bad at all? Do you think a game like Elder Scrolls Blade should be on the Nintendo Switch, or do you don't think that game should be on the Nintendo Switch at all? And what are your thoughts about Spider-Man Far From Home? Did you think that movie was good in any way? Are you looking forward to see what the future of the MCU is going to be? All that stuff. Were you kind of surprised with the ending from Spider-Man Far From Home? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, though, if you do. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this YouTube video, and I will see you again next time when I do a when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!